So yeah, like I was saying, so we're just gonna understand what is our relation. You will see what made us migrate down to Africa because of even some of our people which were taken from West Africa. So you'll see with even slave trade contributed for our migration. We are running away. They were actually running away from actually being taken as slaves and being sold. There's a video. There's a video right here that I'm gonna play, and after I play it, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. The Most High willing. There's the video for us. So now here we're just gonna get to understand the reason for Bantu migration. When they what was the reason for them migrating from West Africa to other countries in Africa, down in Africa? So what was the whole reason? Why did they actually migrate? We're just gonna understand the whole reason why they migrated, because we know that even from West Africa, some of our people which were some of our people were taken from West Africa to America with slave ships and stuff. So we're just gonna get to understand how did some of the Bantu people migrate down when some of our people were actually taken by slave ships. What's it, what happened? What caused? What led them to migrate? What was the whole reason for us migrating down? So you're just gonna understand that thing using these different slides here. I have some slides here. I'm just gonna read, and so that we get to understand. Now we're gonna go straight to slide number 6. Slide number 6. It reads as follows. It says, what does Bantu mean? Point number 1, it says Bantu is a common term used to refer to over 400 different ethnic groups of Africa, stretching from south of the Sahara Desert to South Africa, that have similar languages and to some extent customs. Like I explained, the migration, when we migrated, we did not only migrate to South Africa, but we went into different, they migrated into different countries. Like what, there are Bantu people in Congo, there are Bantu people in Botswana, there are Bantu people in Zimbabwe, there are Bantu people in what I don't know, Botswana, like I've mentioned Botswana. Yeah, different countries in Africa, they have Bantu people. So when they migrated into all those different countries. So point number 2, it says their migration are their larger scale movements over long distances. And then let's go straight to slide number 7. Slide number 7, it says, who are the Bantu? Point number 1, a linguistically related groups of about 60 million people living in equatorial and southern Africa. Not only southern Africa, different countries in Africa. And then let's go to point number 2. Says they originated in West Africa, what I was explaining. So they originated in West Africa. Says migrating downward gradually into southern Africa. Point number 3, this migration was one of the largest in human history. So their migration was one of the largest migration in human history. So migrating wa bona, like their migration, ya tlalosa migration ya bona ne ba migrate from Africa, from West Africa ba tla continents in like South Africa and stuff, like ba migrate ka bongata ba bone too. They migrated ka bongata ba bona, like that's what it's saying there. And then whenever we get to slide number 8, it says how did they get the name Bantu? Point number 1, these people were given the name Bantu because of the similarities that were noticed in their languages. So Bantu, they were given the name Bantu because of the similarities. That's the whole reason why they were given the name Bantu. Okay, it says for example the prefix bar. The prefix bar and the suffix ntu was common among the languages they spoke. So it says so puong ya bona ha ba bua ne bana le bo ba and 2. So that's how they got the name Bantu, because of ho tshwana wa language ya bona ha ba bua. Okay, slide number 9. It says good, how did they migrate? How did they migrate? It's just gonna explain now. How did they migrate? Point number 1, it says good, there are several reasons why Bantu people migrated south. Not only south, different countries in Africa. It says good, point number 2, these reasons can be categorized into political, economical, and social. Now, point number 3 says the exact cause of their movement is uncertain. And then again, the most important thing was this one. Says it is believed they migrated because of population increase. So when West Africa, the population increased, so that is why they had to migrate. They had to migrate because of population increase. Never more West Africa. So it's good. It is believed that they migrated because of population increase, and there was and this was a result of introduction of new crops such as banana, native to South Asia, which increased the food supply. So some were migrating because of a population increase. So this population increase was the main factor also. So we will go straight to slide number 11. So when we get to slide number 11, one thing that you have to understand is even rulership played an important role to this migration. Like rulership, the rulership, that thing played a major role. Why am I saying this? Let us read here. It says with the political reasons for Bantu migration. Point number 1, succession disputes in some cases led to the migration of the groups. Okay. Point number 1, this normally happened when a king died. Members of the royal family quarreled about who should succeed. So the rulership was the problem. So it's showing you whenever who normally explain how normally king actually not like after the king passes away, have kings because of, for example, let me make an example. If I was a king and then there are some people there and then I die, after I die somebody wants to rule over the people, because of so that was one of the problem again, like I said, the rulership. So let's go to point number 2, the convicted people or criminals migrated in order to run away from being punished or killed. So some were convicted people, some were criminals. They migrated in order to run away from actually being killed because of they did some things there. So they actually migrated they migrated simply to run away from being killed or punished. So like it's saying. So ne ba baleha ho bolawa, ba baleha ho punishwa for ntho tse ba dintseng lo bolawa. That was one of them that played a major role of them migrating. Says go to now point number 3, the tribal wars caused migrations as defeated tribes ran away from the powerful ones for safety. So even the tribes, so when they actually came to West Africa, one thing that you gotta understand, they started separating themselves and they formed different tribes now, like separating themselves, and from there actually separating themselves, they were fighting also for power. So that's why it says good, some of the tribes they're really powerful. No, some of the tribes they need to be powerful, never powerful, because they were going to kill them. That's why even whenever you see after they migrated, when they arrived to south, we had people like Ngunis, whereby the Shaka Zulu was actually fighting against other tribes. He was taking everything by force. So it did not just only start here, that thing of them separating themselves and forming different tribes and actually fighting against each other. It did not start South Africa, but it started from where they were from, West Africa. It was still the same thing. The rulership was the main problem for them. So point number 3, it says with expansion. Some Gulas wanted to expand their land. So some they just wanted to expand their land. So it's good. Some Gulas wanted to expand their So it's good expansion. Some Gulas wanted to expand their kingdoms, and therefore migrated in search of new areas. Baba never to extend their lands. So in order to extend their lands, they had to go to search for new areas. And the reason for actually expanding their lands, they just wanted some space where they can actually find good fertile, good fertile soil. A fertile soil, so that they can plant their veggies and stuff, and actually do in short actually do their agriculture there. That was the whole aim why they migrated, but it's just going to explain itself. Slide number 12, it says got the economical reasons for Bantu migration. Point number one, it says now listen to this. It says got the economical reasons for Bantu migration. Point number one, the drying up of the Sahara grasslands. This led the groups that practiced agriculture to migrate in search of new fertile land and water for farming. So this thing also played a major role. It played a major role. That's one thing that we gotta understand. So they were going in search for fertile land and water for farming when they were expanding their some when they wanted to expand their kingdoms. That is why that's what I was trying to explain when I started there. It says so point number three says good. Point number two, it says good occupation, agriculture, hunting, etc. Is it act? Etc. So let's jump straight to slide number 13. Slide number 13, there's something that I want you to catch here. It says with the social reasons for Bantu migration. Social reasons for Bantu migration. It says with some groups or individual migrated mainly for adventure. They did this so that they could explore and see what other lands were like. It's called to ambition. So some, whenever they were migrating, they actually migrated for adventure in search of new areas so that they can explore how new areas are like. Like how new areas look like. So that's sure that's one of the things that actually contributed for them migrating again. Point number two, it says good there was a population increase. This was a main factor now. It says good there was a population. It says good there was a 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 population increase. So there was a population increase, and this created pressure, causing others to migrate in search of new land. So population increase, that was a major thing, like I explained. Now, point number three, that's what I want. It says with the slave trade. Remember what I said to you. Some of our people were actually taken from West Africa and taken and taken. They were actually taken from West Africa and sold to America. They were taken by slave ships. So even slave trade contributed to our migration. We actually ran away. You will understand. Let me just read it all. It says, the slave trade contributed to their migrations. To avoid being attacked or sold as slaves, some groups were forced to migrate. So the slave trade actually contributed because they were some had to migrate because they were running away very very to be actually being taken as slaves by white people and sold. So one slave trade contributed because of according to because of why did that thing happen? Because we broke God's commandment according to Deuteronomy chapter 28. So the cases of Deuteronomy chapter 28, they still had to take place. They still had to take place. So that is why you see even when we arrived at South Africa, I'm gonna talk about the country that I'm in. Yeah, so even when we arrived in South Africa, the white men still came, the Dutch still came, the white men still came, and they had us into apartheid. It still had to take place. The cases were supposed to happen. The Musa said, whatever thing that the Musa said, because we broke God's commandments, the punishment for that thing was that thing. But we're still gonna understand. So let us go on though. This is our last slide number 15. It says, good, it is important to understand that these movements did not occur at once. They took place in phases. So they did not happen at once. Point number one says, it is unclear when the spread of Bantu people of Bantu speakers began. It says, it is unclear. It is unclear when exactly the spread of Bantu speakers began. So it is unclear when did the spread begin. And then now it says, point number two, by 1500 BC, Bantu speaking communities had reached the Great Central African rainforest. So by 1000, it says what, by 1500 BC, Bantu speaking communities had reached the Great Central African rainforest. So point number 3 says kuti by 1000 BC, a major new population center near the Great Lakes of East Africa had developed. Okay, and then point number 4, it says kuti by 500 BC, groups had emerged into savannas to south in what are now the Democratic and Republic of Congo, Angola, and Zambia. The last point says kuti the groups had reached South Africa by 300 AD. So they reached South Africa by 300 AD. So now we got to understand. We now understand what was the whole aim for their migrating. What was the whole aim that we now understood? The whole aim of them migrating, they were actually running away from they migrated because of population increase. They were actually running away from actually being taken and sold as slaves. Some of them wanted to expand their lands. Yeah, so those are the factors which contributed for the migration of the Bantu people. So with this, I hope we got some information regarding the Bantu. Yeah, so you have it there. You have seen it now. So that was the whole aim of us migrating. Now we're gonna go back to our Bible. Okay, now let's go back to our Bible. Now let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. So let's see something. So this is whereby, like I explained, this is whereby we find say KJV, Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's go there. Let us go there. So like I explained before, in Deuteronomy chapter 28, this is whereby we find the whereby Moses was prophesying. And I told you this thing didn't happen immediately at that time. It took place. It took time. It took time to happen before it happened. That's why you see Moses prophesied to them after they came out of Egypt. He gave them the prophecy, but it happened far by the time of Kings. The time period of Second Kings. That's whereby they started going there, because Moses was giving them the prophecy. So we're just gonna hear one of the blessings that they would have received. We would have received if we hearkened unto the voice, if we listened unto the voice of the Most High. So now, simply by the information that is already been provided, we can see who are the true Israelites so far. And we saw even the colors. The previous teaching was showing us that the colors of the true people of the book is actually black. It's not white. They're black. But let us see how do we relate to this thing, because it's now this year we're gonna get to understand why did we go to things like apartheid, why were we actually where are we the most who are struggling even today, what's happening, why is it that we cannot sell to other countries, what's the reason for this thing. So verse number 1 says, it shall come to pass, this is one of the blessings. I'm just going to read verse number 1. It says, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse number 1. It says, but it says, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations. So, meaning if the Israelites listened unto the voice of the Most High, they were supposed to be the rulers of this world, man. If you wanted gold, they were supposed to be coming to us as the Israelites. They were supposed to be coming to the Israelites. That's my point. They were supposed to be going, we were supposed to be getting everything from the Israelites. But due to them breaking God's commandments, because we see them going into Assyrian captivity, Medo-Persia captivity, Roman captivity, now we are on the last captivity. So you see what they did not keep what the Most High told them. Because the punishment for us not keeping the commandments was that we will go into captivity. So let us jump to verse number 15. Verse number 15. Now, listen to this now. Deuteronomy chapter 15, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse number 15 says, but it shall come to pass,
if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So what Moses prophesied to us is that if we don't keep these commandments of the Most High, the curses are going to come upon us and overtake us. This is one of the cases that was going to come unto us. Verse number 16. I'm going to show you. It says, "With the curse shall thou be in the city," okay, "and curse shall thou be in the field." Our people, which were taken from West Africa and were taken by slave ships, when they got there, they were sold unto the enemies, because that's what the Bible calls them. It says, they were sold unto their enemies, and then after being sold, basically what happened? They were working in the picking up cotton fields. They were working in the field. In the field. Masimu. They were masimu. That was one of the cases. Let's see. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna show you. Yes, there it is. Black slaves working in the field. So it happened. It took place. It says, "Cast shall thou be in the field. Cast shall thou be in the field. Cast shall thou be in the field." They were working, picking up cotton fields and stuff. If you have watched a slavery movie, I'm sure you can relate. So they were cast in the field. It says, "Cast shall thou be in the field. Cast shall thou be in the field." It took place, this thing. Okay, let's go back to the verse. Now it says, "Cast shall thou be in the field." So let us jump straight to verse number 30. So even this thing happened. This one happened. It took place. I'm just gonna jump around, but when you get time, you can read everything. Because of time, I'm just gonna jump around. It says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. This thing happened. That's how you see most of the people, most of the colors and stuff came about. Because we see there are some mixed races. You see you find out their father was a white man, and then the mother was a slave, a black woman. Such things did happen. Even in the movies, when you watch them, it did happen. It says, "Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her." And then it says, "Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein." It happened, this thing. Our forefathers built many of the houses. We built many of the houses, but they never dwelt in those houses. They never dwelt in them. This was one of the cases. It says, "Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein." It says, "Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof." So you will plant the vineyard, and you will never gather the grapes thereof. It's one of the cases. Now, there is this question, there is this thing that people always say here in the country that I'm in. They say, the white man came, and he took everything. Yes, it's written in the Bible, it was one of the cases, and we did not do anything about it. Why? It's because of the Most High said it. So verse number 33, listen to what it says. It says, "The fruit of thy land and all thy laborers shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always." It says, "And thou shalt be always oppressed and crushed." This was what apartheid. That's whereby they took everything and they oppressed us. That's why you can see it was one of the cases. It was because of Tina we broke the commandments of God. It was because of this was a result of us breaking God's commandments. Let's see again, and we can identify even today who are the people of which this thing happened to. We see simply from there. So let us jump straight to verse number 43. You're gonna understand, because we are always asking ourselves, why is it that the other nations and every nation, they are on top of us, they can sell to us, they can do whatever that they want, but we cannot sell unto them. Why what was the reason for that? So it's just gonna explain itself here. Verse number not 42, but I want 43. This is the reason why they are on top of us, because we broke God's command. It says, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up." The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. That's the reason why. And we are down very the economy. We cannot sell to them. We cannot do anything. It's because of the curses. And listen to this. I just want to read this thing, and then I'm gonna play a video to show you. We are still on the bottom. Even today, man. We don't own anything. We are the most struggling. I don't care what you say, but I know we know it's a proof, it's a fact. We are the most struggling. Even when it comes to the employment rate, we are the most. We are the last. So we are not like what I'm saying is that we are the last. Why do I mean, what do I mean by that? The unemployment rate, we are the ones who are struggling from poverty. The employment rate for us is less, and we earn not too much money, that we don't earn too much money, even though there are some of our people who are rich and stuff, but that doesn't mean good we are all check everything. You can check the criteria of us. It's not equal, man. We are not equal. We are not being treated equal. Even here in South Africa, we are not being treated equal. That's why I'm going to play the video. So listen to this. It says, "Good, he shall lend to thee," meaning good, they will sell unto us. This is the reason why we cannot sell unto him. It says, "Good, he shall lend unto thee, and thou shalt not lend unto him." Oh, and thou shalt not lend to him. Says, let me repeat. Says God, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. That's the reason. This is one of the cases. That's the reason why we are behind. That's why we are the tail. Because we've been asked. These are such questions that I've been asking myself. Well, why is it that we are below? We cannot sell to other countries. It's because of we broke God's commandments, and the reason behind it is that we are the true children of Israel by flesh. Let me show you that video that I was talking about. Now we can come. I think I placed it here. There's a video that I want to play. The Most High willing, it plays. The Most High willing, it plays. The Most High willing, it plays. Oh. All right. What's this? Okay. Looks like we are having some problems playing the video. I think I'm gonna go on YouTube and search for it. Yeah, I'm gonna go on YouTube and search for it straight on that. I gotta do that because I thought maybe it will be easy. So now it's slowing everything up, even slowing me down. I can't do anything now because of it. Please switch it off. Okay, let's jump straight to the YouTube. I think I must search that video that I want. Okay, I think I have it on the history stuff. This stuff, there's a video that I want there. So when we actually get here, let's check the history. There's a video that I want there. Okay. Yeah, this is the video that I want. Let's check the video and see for ourselves.
For outsiders, be a symbol of post-apartheid South Africa. The coastal city is promoted as a top destination for its diversity of food, landscapes, and cultures. But for Black South Africans, life in Cape Town is steeped in the lasting legacy of apartheid, the system of white minority rule that has left the country's Black majority poor and powerless. Though apartheid was officially terminated in 1994, throughout South Africa, neighborhoods remain structurally segregated, and the vast majority of Black citizens remain locked in grinding poverty. I'm going to show you how Cape Town was designed to keep racial groups separated, and how those divisions persist today. Cape Town's layout provides a striking example of the clear socioeconomic divisions between South Africans. I'm standing in a township that reflects the living conditions of most Black Cape Townians. Poor and under-resourced, without access to running water, sewage, or even electricity. Just next to it is a white suburb that's worlds apart. And there's no easier way to see this than with a drone. From above, you can see the state of the bustling Black township I'm standing in, called Imazamayetu. It's a barren, informal settlement made up mostly of shacks and government-built homes. Literally next to the township is a white suburb that's overflowing with greenery. So here's what life looks like for most white Cape Townians. Nice suburban homes with running water, protected by walls and alarm systems. Some even have signs specifically warning black Africans in their language of Xhosa of dogs inside. And the disparity isn't just black and white. Here's the colored township of Manenberg to the left, and the informal black settlement of Nyanga to the right. Unlike black townships, the ghettos of colored people are made up of small homes rather than shacks and have basic services like running water. Before we go any further, I should break down how racial groups are classified here. Colored is a centuries-old community of diverse heritage that might be called Creole in the US or Caribbean. They're distinguished from Africans, who are the city's Xhosa-speaking black population. While Africans are the vast majority in most of South Africa, in Cape Town, coloreds are the largest group. Africans are a close second. Whites are only 15%, followed by Asians and others. The segregation we see from above is a legacy of an apartheid system that was instituted by South Africa's National Party and lasted from 1948 to 1994. Apartheid further expanded the policies of white domination and racial segregation that were already in place since the colonial era. Under the 1950 Group Areas Act, the government created racially segregated areas and forcibly removed people from neighborhoods reserved for white people. From 1950 until 1983, one of the largest mass removals in modern history took place. Here in Cape Town, District 6, where I currently am, had been a booming area in the heart of the city with more than 60,000 colored residents. But in the 70s, the government bulldozed their homes and forced them into windswept housing projects on the Cape Flats, far from the city center. Apartheid dictated where people could live and move about. Africans were issued a pass or an ID document stating where they could live and work. They would be arrested if police found them in a white neighborhood not designated as their place of employment. The system was used to bar most Africans from moving to the city in search of jobs. Instead, they were confined to living in 3 blighted townships. In the 80s, hundreds of thousands began moving to the periphery of the city, building shacks and informal settlements. The legacy of that migration remains today in poor townships like this one. Part of apartheid's divide and rule scheme was to give coloreds priority over black Africans for jobs and housing. But coloreds were also systematically displaced at the expense of whites. And today, the white minority continues to live near the city center and in lush suburbs like this one. And the inequality isn't limited to neighborhoods. Under apartheid, Cape Town's more exclusive Atlantic coast beaches like this one used to prohibit blacks. Whites enjoyed their own beaches like these, while blacks and coloreds had their own beaches which looked like this. Today, beachfront areas like Camps Bay still cater to mostly whites. But now it's all about who can afford the nice restaurants and shops. It's this kind of unspoken disparity that continues to permeate Cape Town society. Studies by local researchers have found that black Africans are almost always less successful than white people in moving up career paths in Cape Town, a phenomenon labeled the ebony ceiling effect. The inequality here is so stark that Cape Town's Gini index, which economists use to measure inequality, is 63 out of 100. That's one of the highest in the world. So why has Cape Town failed to deliver a better life for all since the end of apartheid? Some blame Cape Town's governance. Cape Town rests within the province of the Western Cape, which is the only one of South Africa's 9 provinces not run by the governing African National Congress. That's the anti-apartheid party of Nelson Mandela. Instead, it's run by the Democratic Alliance, which grew out of white liberal establishment politics, but includes remnants of the old National Party and black middle-class support. The Democratic Alliance dismisses any claims that Cape Town remains racist, but it's hard to deny the structural segregation and discrimination that still exists, even if it is more subtle than it was under apartheid. Now that Cape Town grapples with a water crisis the world has never seen, the stark disparity between the haves and have-nots is on full display. Many black Cape Townians have always lived without running water. Now, others in Cape Town are getting a glimpse into that experience as they line up to collect a ration of water. But what about everything else? Will the dream of a truly equitable society ever become reality here? Hey guys, it's Dina in the...
There you have it. There you have it. There you have it. There you have it. So you see, so we cannot say what we are equally. No. It's still taking place. The same thing is still happening even today. So let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28 now. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And then so we read verse number 44. This time we're gonna just jump to verse number 48. So verse number 48. So like I said, you can read them all. You can go through them all on your own time. I mean, you can go through them all. I'm just gonna take for time's sake. I'm just gonna take listen to this now. It says, "Good day." Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. So who sent them against us? The Most High did that. Why? Because we broke his commandments. We broke his commandments. It says, "But therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies," and the Most High calls them what? They're our enemies. It says, "But therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger," meaning that they will control the food that we eat. If we want food, where do we go to? We go to them in hunger and in thirst. Water, I mean, rain just falls freely from the top, but we still owe. We are still owing water. We are supposed to pay for water. And it says, "Good," and in nakedness, even the clothes that we wear, they come from them. It says, "Good, in want of all things." You want education, you go to them. You want a driver's license, you go to them. You want to go to another country, you go to them for passport. You want anything that you want, you will go to them. It says, "Good, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee." He says, "Good, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee." A yoke of iron. Some of our people which were taken from West Africa to Africa. I mean, not some. Our people which were taken from West Africa to America. They put this yokes. They had the yokes of iron upon their necks when they were inside, when they took them with slave ships. They put the yokes of iron upon their necks. Proof. Let's go to it. I think I'm just gonna go to Google and then type yoke of iron. Yoke of iron. Says, "Good, and he shall put the yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee." He shall put the yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. And he shall put the yoke of iron upon thy neck. Okay. This is not necessary. So he shall put the yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. So when they went into captivity, they went with yokes of iron around their necks. And they said, "But he shall put the yoke of iron upon thy necks, upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee." So there it is. That's the proof. And it simply shows that we are the true people of the book. We Bantu people are the true Israelites of the book. But let's go on though. Let's jump to verse number 49 and 50. Verse number 49 and 50. I'm going to show you something. It says, "Good now." It says, "Good, and the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far and from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand." Verse number 50 says, "Good, a nation whose fierce countenance, which shall not regard the persons of old, nor show favor to the young." So during apartheid here in Africa, were they showing favor to the young? I mean, to the older people or the younger people when they were shooting them? They were not. Let me give you a proof so that you see for yourself. There's a video that I want to show you. I think I have it here. I hope it plays. This is the video I need. I hope it plays. I want you to see something now. All right.
Every month, Esme Mayseals tends to the grave of the father she never knew, born just 2 months after his death. It's her way to honor him for losing his life at a protest against apartheid. Do you know why he went?
I don't think it would have been noble of him to remain at home.
You're proud of your father?
Very. To this day, to this moment.
On March 21st, 1960, Zacchaeus Mayseals joined 3,000 other Black South Africans to protest one of the most hated restrictions against the nation's Black majority, passbooks, which controlled their every movement. Lydia Mahabuke remembers. Even if you had a visitor in your house, she said, you'd have to report them to the police station. They would tell you how long your visitor could stay. Sharpeville's residents gathered peacefully in front of the police station without those passbooks. Their objective, to be arrested. but police opened fire, shooting protesters in the back as they ran for their lives.
This was the first shot hit me.
It hit you right here. Abram Mafoking still has a bullet lodged in his spine. What were you thinking?
We were all in fear. There was no time to think. We just trying to escape.
In 2 minutes, police fired more than 1,300 bullets. 69 people lay dead in the streets. Johannes Sefatsa's brother was shot in the back as he ran.
When I looked at his bed, his empty bed, he was not there. So it's then that I started crying.
Police hauled away the bodies, fearing a funeral procession of 69 hearses would spark unrest. The government delivered those caskets in the beds of trucks.
The coffins arrived closed. They never got to give us a chance to have a last glimpse of those people.
But they did not die in vain. Few knew in the days after the massacre the outrage it ignited worldwide.
So there you have it. There you have it. So you see what the scripture was saying. It says, "Good, he shall not regard." So when they were doing, they did not regard the person of the person the person who's older or young. They just did what they had to do. So the cases did take place. Now let us jump to the last verse there. There's something that I want. When we go to the book of verse number 68 and see, let us see what if it took place, this thing. So verse number 68, I want to show you something about verse number 68. What transport did they use when they were taking slaves from Africa to West Africa to America? They used slave ships. You will see. Let's see if it's recorded in the Bible or what. So it says, verse number 68, it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt." It says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt." The word Egypt, it means slavery. It doesn't mean that he was saying he will take them back to Egypt, the Egypt that they came from. I mean, no. It was talking about the spiritual. It's talking about captivity. The word Egypt is another word for captivity. I think Exodus chapter 20, verse number 2. Exodus chapter 20, verse number 2, it will tell us. There's a precept. The precept for this thing is there. I'm just going to read it. There it is. Okay, it says, "I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." So Egypt is called the house of bondage. Meaning, what is another word for bondage? Is slavery. It says the house of slavery. So Egypt is called the house of bondage. So when it says, "The Lord will take you the Lord will take you again into captivity with ships," it means when it says, "The Lord will take you again into Egypt," Egypt meaning He will take you again back. He will take you again to slavery with what? With ships. Because it was saying that. Let's go back to it. Deuteronomy chapter 28 still. Okay, 28. 28 we're reading verse number 68. Verse number 68. Let me read this thing. Verse number 68. It says, "And the Lord shall bring," let's see this thing. Let's start underline it from here. It says, "The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt," meaning the Lord shall bring thee into slavery again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. Meaning they shall never see what? We shall never see our homeland no more again. It says, "And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bound men and bound women." So our brothers, when they got off those slave ships, they sold them. It says, "There they shall be sold to your enemies for bound women," meaning for slave men and slave women, "and no man shall buy you," meaning no man shall redeem you out of that slavery, even if they try. I mean, people like Mandela tried. Think about it, man. Mandela tried. We're still struggling today. Nothing else. Nothing has changed. Tell me about the rulership that you are having. Tell me about some inequality that you are under. It's just the problem is just that slavery is now normal. It's our lifestyle. We live it. So it's our lifestyle now. So it's something which is normal to us. So that's why we never complain. And verse number 64, I wanted to read it again. It says, good, the reason why I was thinking we are scattered amongst all nations. It says, good, and the Lord shall scatter thee amongst all people from the end of the earth even unto the other, and there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So we proved today. Now we understand who are the true Israelites today. Whenever we speak of the Israelites, we are talking about, we know, proving, only looking at these cases is easy. Now we see. Now we proved what also the Bantu people are the Israelites of the book. With this, Nje, I would like to give honor and praises unto the Most High and the Son, Christ the King. With this, I would like to say Shalom. Shalom, shalom.